After the Dow disaster, take a look at where the numbers are right now. The Dow is up 286. Politicians and economists, though, are warning there is still danger ahead, and they insist that this rescue bill, some form of it, has to be passed. It took days, as you know, to negotiate the first bill, only hours for it to fall apart yesterday. Let's get straight to New Hampshire Senator Judd Gregg. He was representing the Republicans, one of the top negotiators on the first incarnation of this thing. Senator, thanks for being here. What is the situation at this point in terms of the people who voted no? Is there anything that can be offered that they would end up passing?
Well, how about an economy that's stable and functioning and that people aren't put out of work in? That's a pretty good place to start. How about a stock market that doesn't tank? That's a pretty good place to start, too. I mean, let's be honest here. That vote on Monday was a catastrophe for the American people, and the $1.2 trillion worth of wealth was wiped out. That's their pension funds, their IRAs, their 401ks. Now it's coming back a little bit today because people think maybe people take a second look and pass this thing, but if it doesn't pass, it's going to go right back down. You know, this is about Main Street. This is about getting credit on the Main Street so jobs can be continued, so that people can send their kids to school, so that hospitals can expand, so that schools can open and build their additions, and so that the garbage can be picked up. I would think that that would be enough of an incentive, in my opinion, to have people vote for a plan which isn't going to cost the taxpayers a heck of a lot of money, if anything. In fact, taxpayers may end up making money on it. I would think that would be enough of an incentive.
Senator, though, you have made that pitch over and over again, as did a lot of your colleagues, and it wasn't enough. So many of these no votes, they disagree with this thing in principle. How are you going to get something done?
Well, I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, if they don't feel, you know, I happen to think we're here to represent America and making it a better place, and giving people jobs and making sure we have an economy that survives. And if they feel that they can do that by drying up credit and having Main Street impacted and having the stock market wipe out people's savings as a result of massive drops, and I guess that's their opinion.
I lay out the top option, if you will, for me at this hour. Is it this same bill with some tweaks that potentially could be passed? Is it blowing this up and starting over?
Well, no. We don't have time to roll it up and start over, and plus there aren't any ideas out there that would accomplish what it needs to be done, which is to free up the credit markets that I've heard that have any credibility in relationship to this initiative. Everything I've heard, it would cost the taxpayers dramatically more, and of course if we don't pass this, the cost to taxpayers is going to be extraordinary as we try to repair an economy that will be in shambles. But what can we do with this bill? Well, there's some talk about areas like the FDIC insurance, something like that. Certainly that's what Senator Obama and Senator McCain have been talking about. I really don't know. You've got to change some votes in the House. I'm not in the House. I don't know what will change those votes. But it would seem to me that hopefully after looking at what happened on Monday, that people would take a look and say that we are firing with real bullets around here. This isn't virtual. It isn't theater. And that maybe some people should take a second look at whether or not voting no was a good idea.
One last question for you, Senator. You know, there's been a lot of talk that maybe this idea wasn't sold well to taxpayers and that lawmakers are getting so much pressure from the taxpayers who say they're against this. Is it possible to give people a different impression, to resell it, to repackage it?
Well, I don't think there's any question but that the public has been given some really bad information, not by the mainstream media, but by a lot of folks who have hyperbolized and dramatized the event, misrepresented the facts, you know, saying that this is a $700 billion bailout for Wall Street, when in fact, what happens here is we're going to buy assets which have value, hopefully resell those assets when the economy is stabilized, and we won't lose much money for the taxpayer. We may make a little bit, and in the process we'll keep credit flowing on Main Street, which is pretty important to just about everybody in America. So that's a complicated message to deliver when it's confronting high-level theater and high-level demagoguery, but we just have to keep talking about it as on the substance and making the point that this is important. You know, regrettably, the alternative, we saw a little flash of it on Monday, which was pretty devastating when you lose $1.2 trillion of value in the market. If we don't pass this plan by the end of the week, that loss will look like a minor event.
Oh, that's scary to think about. Senator Judd Gregg, Republican of New Hampshire. Senator, I hope you'll keep us updated if anything develops. Thanks.
Thank you.
Meanwhile,